Hello, everybody. It's early in the morning, and I just want to apologize because I'm super tired. I've been up like the last 24 hours, and so I want to make this video before I go to bed. This is an important video. I'm putting some parallels together that I find are super important, and I really want to express, first and foremost, that I understand that being independent is not easy. I understand it's very difficult. I understand it comes with a lot of challenges. The reason why I'm starting this video off today is because I have dealt with a lot of people in the last 24 hours that have been victims, or at least purported to be victims, of domestic violence, a lot of civil harassment, a lot of civil issues in general, and criminal for that matter. And yeah, and so talked to a lot of these people, like I said, in the last 24 hours. And I wrote down a list of 8 things that I was told today. And I think it's interesting when I look at the parallels of where we are culturally as a society, through institutions, through education, and it all comes full circle. And I really want to share that with you guys today. And this is not the place to blame, because at this point, the blame is irrelevant for what I'm saying in this video. The blame is irrelevant, and we definitely should not be blaming victims, or people who are purporting to be victims, right? The purpose of this video is understanding what the issues are, understanding what the roadblocks are, and then realizing what the solution is. And solutions are not easy. I get that. Independence is not easy. If independence was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? And so, like I said, I talked to a lot of people in the last 24 hours that have had allegations of everything from domestic violence to domestic harassment, civil and criminal concerns, etc. And these are the 8 reasons. When we get to the crux of trying to find a solution, these are 8 things that was told to me today that I heard that people used as reasons that would preclude them from being able to find a solution. Okay. And this is what it is. So basically, how can we get the separation between this person and that person? These were 8 things that were hindrances that people purported to be hindrances. Number 1, I stay in order to be connected with my family. And that could be, that could be anything, right? Staying connected with in-laws, staying connected with friends, staying connected with known family or associates thereof. I stay in order to stay connected with family. 2, I'm financially supported by the alleged abuser or by a system in place that, if separated, would cause some kind of financial loss for that person, right? So they stay in the relationship, or they stay in the event, in the situation, because of a financial need that's there. 3, I don't know where else to go, right? And a lot of times when we're talking about not knowing where else to go, what they're really trying to say, or what they're really saying a lot of the time, is, I don't know what the outcome of me leaving or going somewhere else is, right? I can't control that outcome, and I don't know the unknown. That's what a lot of people are really saying when they say, I don't know where else to go. Number 4, I'm invested, whether that be financially, time, invested because they spent so much time, they've built so much, they've accrued so much with this person. It's almost like, why do I have to go? Or why should I go? All that stuff that's there also is because of me. Or I have a lot of things here. Why do I need to? Why should I go? Why do I need to go? I'm invested. It was really my fault. That's another thing I heard today. it's really my fault. I know what gets this person to get to that level, or I know what caused this. It's my fault, really, right? So it's basically, taking ownership of something, whether justified or not. Some people say, it's my fault, right? Blame themselves. Another one, 6, I stay for the kids. Heard that a lot. I do everything for my kids, right? I'll do anything for my kids. I stay for my kids. It's all about my kids. 7, this person will change. We've come a long way. This just was a, it was a mess up, right? It's a fuck up. It won't happen again. And then number 8, it's really not that bad, right? Yeah, things might have gotten a little out of hand today, but it's really not that bad. Like it's not, it doesn't rise to the level where really we need to do anything drastic, right? Whether that means, this person needs to be arrested, or, I need to actually do anything, take any steps. Maybe this person just needs to be talked to, or whatever, right? Whatever those reasons would be. They don't really want, no, we don't need to contact, anybody, CPS, DHS, family members, friends. We don't need to go through any of that. We don't need to go through any litigious process or any actual process. Just, it really wasn't that bad. And so the reason why I find these, 8 things in particular that I heard today interesting is because these are the same things that we hear, that I've heard when I'm talking to people that are wanting to get into preparedness, why they can't, what roadblocks they have, like why can't they separate themselves from big tech, right? Or social media or the system, right? These are the same reasons. So I'm realizing that, by and large, the same reasons why people can't get out of battered relationships is also the same reasons why they can't get off social media, right? These are the same reasons why they can't get off of the, sorry, I've been up a long time, the big tit of the government, right? Or whatever you want to call it. These are the same reasons, and if this is not to victim blame. It's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is there's direct correlation here. And that's kind of what I want to get into. And I want to talk about the solution. So I want us to really think about this. I want us to meditate on this for a second. And then we're going to start talking about some of the correlation and power plays that we have in modern day society based on things that are cultural, institutional, academic, psychological, etc. A lot of times when I talk to people, I ask them, so the censorship on social media platforms is pretty bad for you, right? Sure, yeah, of course they do. I mean, we hear people talk about that all the time on YouTube. We hear it all the time on social media. We hear people's bitches and moans all the fucking time. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of it. They censor me. Twitter, they censor me. They don't let me do what I want to do. Every time I do something, I get in trouble. They put me in purgatory. You name it, right? They delete my tweets. They delete my posts. They delete my messages. They demonetize me. All these things, right? And the same can be said about, the government if you want to, right? People say the same thing. Like, they aren't letting me open my business. They're not letting me do this. They're not letting me do that. Wherever they're at. And then when you ask them, the same people, when you ask them, well, why don't you leave? Why don't you do something? What solutions are there? We get the same responses as we get from people that are, abusers, and a lot of times habitually abused by somebody. We get the same thing, right? Just like we do with victims of domestic violence. Well, I stay in this abusive city, right, where they claim the laws or municipal codes are tyrannical, right? Well, the reason why I stay in Southside Los Angeles is for my family. My family's here. I have to stay here. Well, the reason why I can't get off social media is because it's for my family. My family's on social media. That's what it is. That's how I keep in touch with friends and family. Okay, that's fair, and I can't, and none of us can really, at the end of the day, like as with anything else, you can't victim blame. You can't say, well, screw that concern or screw that reason, right? How do you do that? How do you say that that's not a valid argument? You can't, because as we see with all these things, it's going to require, from what the scientists tell us and what the psychologists tell us and the people that analyze this stuff tell us, is it's not an easy fix. There are cultural, institutional, psychological, academic, there are all these different layers of complex issues that are here, and you can't just say, well, fix it. It really comes down to your thought process, right? And the answers aren't easy. So take that, for example, my family. I can't get off social media because my family. This is how I can connect with my family. Now, I can tell you the preparedness side of me, and by preparedness, I just mean the normal side of me, is, well, what did you do before social media? What were you doing before social media? How did you keep in contact with family? Did you write letters? Did you call them on the phone? Did you actually talk to them? Did you send text messages? Did you actually have in-person relationships with them, especially if you're telling me that you can't leave the area because of family? What does that mean, relationships with my family? Because I can tell you, as a culture, it shifted, right? I grew up in a time, believe it or not, where you actually made contact with your friends and family, where you actually talked to them, where you actually interacted with them. And when you couldn't, you wrote letters. You talked to them on the phone. And then later on, you text messaged them. You actually sent them something, even if it's just a text to them. But now, culturally, academically, institutionally, things have changed. Social media is that new reality. And for a lot of our younger generation, this is all that they know, right? This is all they know. They don't know about the days of letters. Guarantee most young people don't even know how to send a letter. And with the COVID lockdowns and everything like that, and yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. We'll get to that in a second. Now they're being taught everything is digital, right? Zoom, school, friend interactions, it's all FaceTime, it's all social media. It's Zoom, it's technology. That is how you interact with people. And so now we have a new generation growing up, not even knowing how people before them interacted with people. Because it's the new way society's progressively going. Another added layer of dependency. Especially from a social media aspect, the dependency is chemical at this point. The reason why people are so addicted is because the chemical dopamines that are released from the body when they get a message or somebody is the notification gives them that dopamine. I mean, we're seeing young children committing suicide over this stuff. And so the only real way to successfully address it is to change your thought process. And with a lot of things, especially when it comes to domestic violence, it takes a lot of therapy. It does. It takes a therapist for some people. It takes medications, another added layer of dependency. When you are dependent on another person, when you're dependent on psychotropic medications or any combination thereof. So you're switching from one level of dependency for another level of dependency in a lot of ways. And guys, we're just on number one. Yes, this is a complex issue. Number two, we're talking about being financially supported, right? Why can't you leave the city? Why can't you get off social media? Why can't you take your reliance off big tech? Well, I'm financially supporting the city. My job's here. I can't leave here. This is how I make money. I can't leave. Okay. Fair. How do I tell somebody that, well, you got to find another job? I can't do that. That's not even my job. I can't do that. Take these YouTube preparedness people, right? Well, I'm monetized. Like, if I get off YouTube and I don't bow to every wish, then I'm going to lose money. I'm going to lose revenue. That's important. Well, who am I to tell somebody that they can't make money? That's not my job. This is how we make money, guys. Likes, views, right? And so you have these people that are dependent financially, right? The juice is not worth the squeeze because they're going to financially take a hit. Same with people of domestic violence. How are you to say that that's not a real concern? It is. I get it. You got to make your paper. You got to make money. How do you address that? Again, it requires changing your mind. It requires taking a new path. It requires adapting and overcoming. Which kind of leads us into number 3. I don't know where else to go, right? And by saying I don't know where to go, a lot of times that's just saying I can't control the outcome and I don't know what the outcome is. Because you can tell people, well, if YouTube is not your thing and you feel like their guidelines are too tyrannical, go to Rumble, go to BitChute, go to all these other places, which you easily can, right? Social media the same way. Go to Parler. Tell your friends and family go to Parler or this or that. You can easily do that. What happens? The outcome is unknown. Well, am I going to be able to make up my money on Parler or Rumble or these other places? Am I going to be able to monetize and make as much money as I'm making now under this tyrannical institution that I'm complaining about? Will my family members switch over? I mean, they're on Facebook now. They're on Instagram. Are they going to switch over? People are scared of the unknown. And who am I to tell them, or any of us to tell them those concerns are not merited? It's not. I can't do that. Number 4. I'm invested. Right? I have way too much capital in this, right? If you've been on Facebook for, 10 plus years, a lot of people have. I have 10 plus years of my life that I've given to the social media platform. I can't just start over. I can't just do that. I can't. Look at all the wealth I've acquired here. Look at the house. The house is like halfway paid off here in the city. I have all this stuff. I can't just pick up and move. I'm on the freaking PTA board, for crying out loud. Those are all things of merit. Who are any of us to say that that isn't a rightful concern, right? Yes, I'm sure. YouTube, hundreds of videos. I make this much a month. I'm invested. I can't just pick up everything and move. That'd be devastating, right? And again, the only way to do it is to change your thinking. And in order to do that, how much dependency are you going to require on something else to help you with that? All valid points. Number 5, it's my fault, really, right? Well, if I said boomstick instead of gun or firearm, I wouldn't have gotten demonetized. So that's my fault, really, right? Or if I wouldn't have talked about this topic or whatever it is, then the social justice warriors wouldn't have, canceled me. So it's really my fault. It's my fault, really. I said bullet. I shouldn't have said that. I said Second Amendment. I shouldn't have said that. I said freedom of speech. I shouldn't have said that. Right? It's my fault, really. I knew better. I knew better than to post something that goes against this liberal narrative or this social justice ideology. It's my fault. Well, I mean, I can't say you're wrong. Who am I to say you're wrong? You're right. You know what the rules are. You know what they like, and you know what they don't like, and you said something they didn't like. So, like I said, it comes down to changing your thinking. You can just either not care, not give a shit what they think, or Play the game. Play the game. All right, let's go to the next one. 6, I stay for the kids, right? Kids are precious. They should be the most important thing, right? If social media is how you keep in touch with your kids and you need it in order to have a relationship with them because of what relationship has progressed to, and you can't come with and you can't come up with, or you choose not to do any kind of other intermediary, well then I don't know how you work through that. I don't. It's not my job to tell you how to work through that. Same thing if you live in the city. I can't leave my family. My kids are here. Not my place. Number 7, this person will change. YouTube, social media, they'll change eventually. Eventually they'll change. There's going to be enough people, not me, OPSEC, bro. It's not going to be me that does it, obviously. But I hear there's a lot of rumblings going on. Eventually the powder keg will burst into flames and it'll get fixed. I hear they're doing a lot of good things in Congress. I heard they might make social media platforms into public utilities. Yeah, I mean, not me. No, not me, because OPSEC, bro. But somebody will go out there and do it. You know, I'm not going to do it, but eventually things have to change, right? I mean, hashtag capitalism. And then you have the number 8. It's not that bad, really. It's not really that bad. I mean, yeah, it sucks, and yeah, it's probably tyrannical, and it's definitely censorship and all that stuff, but it's not that bad. I can play by the rules. I'm just bitching. That's what it comes down to. I come on here and I just need to get that itch done, you know. It's not really that bad. I don't mind, really. I mean, sure, why talk about freedom of speech on social media anyway, right? I don't really need to say firearm. Why do I even need to say firearm? Like, it's not really that big of a deal. I can say boomstick instead. That's fine. I mean, it's worth it because I don't want to get demonetized, right? Because I care about what these people think. Yeah, it's not that bad anyways. I don't really want you to do anything, you know. I don't really want you to make any arrests, or I don't really want you to contact CPS, or I don't really want you to contact family to help me with my kids or situation or anything. I don't want you to do that. Maybe if you could just go talk to that person. Maybe you can go talk to them and just tell them, hey, you know, knock it off, you know, getting loud, the neighbors heard you. Just go teach. This person just needs to be talked to, that's all. And this is just the 8 that I've heard in the last 24 hours, right? And you have other things too, you know. Some people stay because they're generally scared. They're genuinely concerned, you know. Well, what happens if it gets worse? I can't leave because if I leave, it might get worse. No, I get that. I understand that. And I'm not here to say that anybody's concerns are not valid. But there are direct correlations, right? Yeah, could things get worse? Sure. I mean, you could get off social media and all your fears could come true. Your family could disown you. You could lose all your monetization. Everything you invested in could go away. May not be able to talk to your family and your friends and your kids. They may just, you know, once you get off social media, they just may forget about you altogether. You know, maybe they might change in the future as far as the platform goes. I mean, there's so many different permissible things that you can talk about. But at the end of the day, this is the situation we find ourselves in. The exact same things I see with battered people are the exact same things I see with people that complain about social media and complain about just hashtag tyranny, whatever that means to them, right? And so it's interesting because the answer and the solution doesn't come in direct form. It does, because you could just leave. But really, if we're just being honest, according to what the scientists and psychologists and everybody says, they're complex issues in regards to culture, institutions, academia, and just the progression of society. Okay, cool. I can admit that. I can accept that answer. And I akin this to a parent-child relationship, right? Hear me out. You have some parents that are really good parents that want to see their kids thrive and want to give them all the tools they need to be successful. We see that. Okay? We see them wanting their children to be successful and doing everything they can to ensure that success. And then we see other parents that try, not really that efficient in it. And then you see other parents are just pieces of complete shit that fuck them. You know, you see it all. And so what it comes down to is, as a child, you don't really have a choice in the matter a lot of times because you're not that developed in your independence, in your personal sovereignty. You just don't have it. You can't expect a 2-year-old just to roll out the door and expect to be successful in the wild, right? They have to mature. They have to grow. And with that growing, they have to take society with them. What's going on in the direct sphere directly is going to correlate with how successful they may or may not be. That all goes and plays a factor in it, right? And so you can akin government, influence, big tech, social media with that. Okay? And so if you really truly want to be successful, it's going to cause you to eventually not depend on that system, because all this stuff comes down to is dependency. Like I've been saying on this channel for years, and all my other channels actually for years. Dependency. That's what this really comes down to. It's a dependency narrative. So when you're 2 years old, you're so dependent that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your beliefs and feelings are. But as you get older, eventually most people come to the point where I don't need my family, I don't need my parents anymore. And sometimes that's when they're 15 years old. Some people, if they're 15, they've had enough. They don't care what the consequences are. Sink or swim, I'm diving in, you know? So I get that. 15 years old. Sometimes they're successful, sometimes they're not. A lot of times they may not. Other people at 18, right? That was me, 18 years old. As soon as I graduated, I was gone. Never looked back. Other people, let me do college first. 22, 23, 24. And then some people just never leave. Because why? It's not that bad anyway. These are the rules. I can get over it. And it honestly comes down to how accommodating that codependency is, right? How accommodating the person that you are dependent on is. That's what it comes down to. And yeah, it's not going to be easy. You know, when I was 18 years old and I left, it wasn't easy. It was hard. Because at least, you know, most people with their families, they have food in their bellies, roof over their head, clothes on their back. They may be shitty clothes on their back, but they're clothes on their back. Maybe a shitty roof over their head, but it's a roof over their head. Maybe shitty food, but it's food. And you can come up with all sorts of reasons, excuses why to justify staying. You complain about it, but you can come up with justifications for staying. And then you have other people that see what the dependency is doing and think they can do a better job. And at first, they might be still eating crappy food. They might still be putting shitty clothes on their back. They may be putting a shitty roof over their head, but it's their shitty roof. It's their choice. That is their shitty roof they're putting over their head. That is those shitty clothes they're putting on their back. That is shitty food that they chose to put in their stomachs. And hopefully one day they can grow up, and through preparedness, through sustainability, through hard work, through changing the mindset, that shitty roof becomes a homestead. Those shitty clothes become a suit and tie, a grunt style shirt, Carhartts, whatever. That shitty food becomes all the hashtags, pasture raised, organically grown, raised food and animal products. But it requires you to change how you think. And I'm not saying everybody's going to be 100% dependent free off the system, but at some point, if you're wanting to break free from that dependency, it's going to cause you to change your thought process, right? It's going to cause you to have to be happy with things that you may not be programmed to actually think is a good thing, right? Take the internet, for example. I don't have Wi-Fi here. I'm literally shooting this video in my house and I'm going to have to put it together here, and then I'm going to have to go into town, I'm going to have to upload it. And society would tell me that's not having Wi-Fi, that's horrible. That's abuse to yourself. Like everybody, that's a human right. Wi-Fi should be a human right. I'm happy with that because that's one layer of dependency that's not on me that I have to worry about. To me, I'm happy, but it caused me to change my thinking. I don't need social media to be happy, to connect with my friends and family, because my friends and family, I connect with them. I call them. I message them. I send them letters. I talk to them. I actually give them hugs, something that's super illegal, right? I embrace them. And I'm happy with that, because to me, that's what a real relationship's about. And I know not everybody is going to do what I can do, or wants to do what I can do, or can do what I can do. But eventually, there has to be an understanding that the reason why we are in the situation we're in is because of codependency. I get it. I get it, trust me. The idea that I can't go to my local grocery store in my closest city, miles and miles away, and not get fresh fruit year round, that's hard for some people. I get it. I understand that. The idea that I have to go out and harvest my own animals, who does that? It's laughable. People feel sorry for me, right? Like that I showed you in the video not too long ago. The guy that was going to the food pantry, and they asked him what happens if the food pantry wasn't here. He said, I guess I would have to start growing my food in my backyard. Just laughing up like that was the most ridiculous thing in the world. I'm sure that guy probably pities me that I have to go out and harvest my own animals. Me, I couldn't be happier. I'm happy with that. Even if that's considered to be desolate, I'm happy with it. Don't you dare take that from me, right? And so it's realizing the dependency that you're on, and realizing the only way to be free actually address those concerns is to become dependent. And I get it. It may take, and this is what people don't want to hear, I get it. It may take you time to mature and get to a preparedness point where you're able to do that. Right? I get it. It may take, you may be in that infancy phase in your preparedness where you are a child and you just can't leave. So the real question is it worth it to you to do whatever it takes to slowly build that sustainability and self-reliance on yourself until you are ready to leave the nest? The nest being big tech, social media, any kind of oversight, right? Because there are rules. When you live in a city, especially, mom and dad have rules. No gardening, no rain catchment, no pets, no tasty pets. That comes with the rules. But with that, you are granted certain amenities. So you have to choose. So those are the parallels I see, guys. Whether we want to admit it or not, that is where we're at. And I feel like the sooner we realize that, and the sooner we understand where it is that we are, the sooner we can at least either say, okay, he's on a point, let's do something about it, or just say, you know what, fucking forget it. This is what it is, and this is how it's going to be. Honestly, whatever you choose, I'm fine with either or, because this is a personal journey you have to make. I've made my journey. You have to make yours. So that's all I have for you guys today. I'm going to go get some sleep. And I'll see you on the next one. As always, guys, long live the Republic.